25th, 2017 meeting of the Gallatin City Council. We're going to begin this meeting as we do each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Our pledge this evening will be led by Councilman Fennell, and our invocation will be led by our city engineer, Nick Tuttle. If you would stand with me, please.
Excuse me. Please pray with me. God, thank you so much for allowing us to come together this evening, again, to consider business before the city. Lord, I pray that you would please just provide your wisdom, your guidance in the things that we're deliberating on tonight. Lord, I pray that we would do what was in your will, and we know that if we do what's in your will, then it's going to be good. It's going to be right, and it's going to be for the best for each of us, even though we may not all see it at this moment in time. God, I pray that your will be done. And it's in Jesus' name that we do pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Kittrell, if you would call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Overton.
Present.
Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Mr. Camp.
Present.
Mr. Fennell.
Here.
Mr. Hayes is absent. Ms. Love.
Here.
And Mr. Mayberry is absent, but we do have a quorum there.
Thank you, Ms. Kittrell. Before you, you have the minutes from the February 21st, 2017 City Council meetings. We have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Alexander. Are there any changes or corrections requested, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, they are approved unanimously. That brings us now to public recognition on agenda-related items. If there's something that's on the agenda this evening that you would like to address, now would be your time to come forward and do so. If you have something that's not on the agenda, we will allow you to voice your concerns at the end of the meeting. But this time, we'll declare public recognition on agenda-related items open. You may come forward, introduce yourself, and give us your address. Okay, I see no one indicating that they wish to speak, so we will close public recognition on agenda-related items. We move forward into Mayor's comments, but before I give you my comments, I have a special resolution to present this evening. And I'd like to invite the representative from the Dairy Association to join me at the podium, please. Annie, you can come right here by me if you like. Annie, what's your last name? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, come on up here. Tell me.
It's Hunt.
Hunt. With me is Annie Hunt. And Annie, tell us who you're with.
I'm the June Dairy Month Chairman of Sumner County.
And we're delighted that you are here with us this evening. As we do each year, we're presenting a proclamation because June is Dairy Month, and if you don't know that, you should. And what this says is, whereas Tennessee dairy farmers and the dairy industry have contributed to the development and well-being of Gallatin, Tennessee since the city's earliest formation by the General Assembly in 1802, and whereas the dairy industry is a major contributor to citizens all across the county, state, and nation, and has a significant impact on the health, welfare, and the economy of our nation, and whereas milk and milk products provide numerous physical, psychological, and nutritional benefits to the growth, energy, and overall wellness of our citizens, and whereas real milk and milk products are undisputedly superior to their imitations in quality, taste, and value, now therefore I, Paige Brown, Mayor of the City of Gallatin, do hereby proclaim June 2017 as Dairy Month, thereby highlighting the dairy industry and asking that all citizens of Gallatin join in celebrating 80 years honoring dairy farmers and observe the month with appropriate programs and activities. So congratulations and thank you for your role in helping promote the importance of milk.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm honored to represent Sumner County.
Well, we're glad to have you, obviously. Okay, I'll move forward with Mayor's comments. I do want to let this council know that one of our city employees did pass away last week, and so I ask that you keep the family of Barry Parrish, who was a longtime Gallatin Public Utilities employee, in your thoughts and prayers. The visitation was yesterday. Also want to remind everyone that Mr. Garrett's visitation is later this week. The visitation is on Thursday. The funeral will be on Friday. I believe it's at 1 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church. I think visitation is 2 until 8 on Thursday, also at the church. I would just like to say that Mr. Garrett's meant a lot to all of us in Gallatin. Somebody referred to him as Mr. Gallatin, and I thought, man, that's an appropriate acknowledgement, because you may have seen my quote in the paper, but I believe it so strongly that our city would have been remarkably different, and not in a good way, if it weren't for Mr. Garrett. He gave of himself in ways that all of us combined cannot even ever, aspire to do, because he was just an amazingly strong, generous, kind man who contributed in so many ways to Gallatin. I know we all appreciate his efforts on our behalf, and I think everybody in the city of Gallatin has had their life positively affected by Mr. Garrett, whether they knew him or not, or whether they know what he did for them or not. But I know that we are all keeping his family in our thoughts and prayers as well, and I just do want to acknowledge that. On a happy note, we did break ground this morning on the foundation for the Franklin House. And then I do want to alert the council and the media and all those watching that there will be some very good news coming in the morning. So I'll be excited to be able to share that with y'all when we're allowed to do so. With that, that concludes my comments, and we will move into the regular agenda. And we begin with second reading on ordinance number 01705-42. And Councilwoman Love is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Gallatin rezoning a 1.63 plus or minus acre lot from the MRO Multiple Residential and Office District to the PGC Planned General Commercial District, and approving a preliminary master development plan for Blue Jay Way Retail Center, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I so move.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Love, second by Councilman Alexander. Is there any discussion? This is second reading on ordinance number 01705-42. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 2 is second reading on ordinance number 01705-44. Councilwoman Love.
Thank you again, Mayor. This is second reading on an ordinance appropriating funds for 2012-13 home grant, and I so move for approval.
Okay. Motion by Councilwoman Love, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Is there any discussion? This is second reading on ordinance number 01705-44. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 3 is second reading on ordinance number 01705-46, and Councilwoman Love again.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second reading of an ordinance appropriating funds for site improvements in the Cambridge condos, and I so move.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Love, second by Councilman Fennell. Is there any discussion? This is second reading on ordinance number 01705-46. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Item 4 is first reading on ordinance number 01706-49. Councilman Fennell.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 2 lots comprising approximately .58 plus or minus acres from CS Commercial Service District to CC Core Commercial District, located at 262 East Main and 266 through 268 East Main Street, authorizing the revision to be indicated on official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, provided for servability, and providing for an effective date. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Alexander. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to say that I'm going to abstain because Ms. Ritchie is my cousin.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Love. So this is first reading on ordinance number 01706-49. Would all in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, Ms. Kittrell, that would be 4 yeses and 1 abstention. Item 5 is first reading on ordinance number 01707-53, Vice Mayor Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance appropriating funds in the amount of $139,372.97 for salaries and benefits adjusted by position reclassification. I so move.
Motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Alexander. Any discussion? Okay, this is first reading on ordinance number 01707-53. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 6 is resolution R1706-31. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a first reading on orders appropriating fund in the amount of $139,370.
Wait, no, item 6.
Well, I'm sorry, item 6. Okay. This is a resolution appointing health, vision, and dental agent of record for the city of Gallatin. I so move.
Okay, motion by Councilman Alexander, second by Councilwoman Love. Any discussion?
Mayor, I know everybody want to know that is Coley and Coley Insurance and Michael Wartenberger, so just for everybody's knowledge, that's who it is.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Overton. Any further comments? Okay, this is resolution R1706-31. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Passes unanimously. Item 7 is resolution R1706-32. Vice Mayor Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution to revise employee pay plans, and I think there's a 1.5% raise in there, correct?
That's correct.
And I so move.
Okay, motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilwoman Love. Any discussion? This is resolution R1706-32. Would all in favor please say aye? Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 8 is resolution R1706-33. Councilman Fennell.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution approving reclassification of Public Utilities Department employees. I so move.
Okay, motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, this is resolution R1706-33. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 9 is resolution R1706-34. Councilman Camp.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Greater Nashville Regional Council. So moved.
Motion by Councilman Camp, second by Councilman Fennell. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, will you just explain to the public what this is?
Yeah, this is an agreement with the Greater Nashville Regional Council to execute a strategic plan, and of course the process that goes along with that. And as a result of the strategic plan, we will embark on a capital investment plan and an update to our land use plans. This is, I'm thinking we're looking 20 years down the road, and I think that this will be a great plan to kind of help us get on our way and to leave a foundation for future leaders in our community to refer to and build upon. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm very excited that GNRC is actually in a position where they can be the facilitators of this.
Thank you for explaining.
My pleasure. I'm excited about it. Anyone else? Okay, this is resolution R1706-34. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. That concludes the regular agenda and brings us now to other business. I would ask if anyone on the council has any other business to bring forward tonight. No, he's what I'm going to bring up, so you can go ahead with, no? Oh, okay. Well, anybody have anything else to bring forward? Okay, I want to bring to you all's attention that we did have a meeting about the car show that we discussed briefly at the work session last week. We did have a meeting, met with one of the proposed organizers, and wanted to ask this council how they felt about moving forward with us having the car show in the City Hall parking lot. This committee of people interested in organizing is not an organization, they're not a nonprofit. And so the only way that I feel like it makes sense for us to be able to allow this is for the City of Gallatin to actually act as a sponsor for this. So this council needs to, I don't know the proper way to move forward. I've spoken.
Vote on it, Susan.
And I spoke with Chief Bandy. He doesn't have any concerns. Zach does have concerns about trash. And I think that we would execute some kind of contract with this committee, that just talked about, attention to the lot and that kind of thing, and that, we could end this agreement at any point if it didn't work for us and that kind of thing. And I feel certain that, Mr. Hall, did you want to come forward and say anything? I would welcome you too, if you like.
While he's coming up, I had the question of which night, is it one night a month or one every week? Or
What we discussed was beginning in July, they would like to do it the second and fourth Saturdays of the month, and it would go from 5 until 9 p.m.
Linda, have you ever been down to Indian Lake and seen their car show on a Friday night?
No, I stay in Gallatin.
Right.
It's pretty crazy
One
in a
night,
good
I wish you
way.
would go down there and see what we're fixing to get into, which is a good thing.
Mr. Hall?
There was a group of guys that was at the Street Fest Car Show in April, and we got together and started brainstorming about possibly doing a car show here in Gallatin. Mount Juliet, Lebanon, Goodlettsville, and Portland all do a Saturday night car show for people to cruise in, and there's no trophies or anything awarded. You just pull up there and park. Spectators come and view the vehicles, and we started brainstorming, thinking, why should we have to drive to Mount Juliet or Lebanon every week with a city as big as Gallatin? And we have a square here in Gallatin that's got, it's as user-friendly as you could be with the crosswalks. We got benches out there. We got restaurants there that would be glad to have the people there. And we get this thing up and running, we could have 500 to 1,000 people there every other Saturday night. At Indian Lake this year, on the first car show, April 15th, we had 515 cars.
Wow.
That's a lot of cars.
I bet
That's
a
not-
lot of them came from
that's
Gallatin,
not-
too.
That's not spectator cars, that's all show cars. And we would like for the city to assume the ownership of it. We don't want to make any profit off of it. We don't want to make anything. I have a committee assembled. We will make sure that the trash is cleaned up. We will get the cars in and park them. We'll be there until it's over. We'll make sure there's no trash left. All we need is city trash cans there to put the trash in. We'd like to have an opportunity to solicit some sponsors so that, not that we could make money, but that they could cover some of the expenses for advertising and whatever we need to get this thing off the ground. I know Donna with Greater Gallatin and Kim with the chamber has said they would help us do advertising and whatever it takes to get it going. But there's no negatives to it that I can see. It's all positive as far as helping the businesses out. And you get that many people walking around on Saturday night, some of them are going to get hungry and start looking for a place to eat. But I appreciate the consideration, and we do whatever we can to make it work for you.
And I hate to ask at this late date, but would you give your name and address for the record, since I asked you up here? I didn't ask you to do that.
Say that again.
Name and address for the record.
Excuse me, Jim Hall, Hall, 621 Bay Point Drive.
And do you want to introduce the gentlemen who are with you? They don't have to come up here, but
I
would you
don't-
like to introduce the gentleman with you?
I'm sorry, I'm a Vietnam veteran, I don't hear well.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The gentleman with you, the men with you.
Yes. David Thompson, he lives on Browns Lane in Gallatin.
Oh, you don't have to give us their addresses. I just thought you
And
might want to.
Fred Kilman from Greystone in Gallatin. And I appreciate the council's consideration for this.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to organize this, and I
And we'd
concur.
like to start, if you see fit to do it,
July 8th.
on July the 8th.
Mr. Overton?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we do allow them to do this and the city sponsor this at this time. And I'm sure when it grows, we'll be discussing this a lot more because it's going to grow out of this parking lot pretty quickly. So then we're going to have to make decisions on where we're going to go with it. But I'd like to make a motion, we sponsor it and let them start it on July the 8th.
Well, I did suggest, okay, motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Fennell. for discussion, I did suggest to them that they talk to like Methodist Church for overflow parking and that kind of thing, and
And also, I would just ask that we do furnish a few extra cans. There's some here, but if we fill all those up, the businesses would
Not
be
be
able to.
happy
So if we
'cause
just
they're
bring a few
private
extra cans,
businesses.
and we can put car show, whatever we want to put on them, but if we'll just furnish a few extra ones for them, they've voluntarily to keep the parking lot clean and that kind of stuff, because they want to come back, and so I appreciate them doing that, and that way we don't have to tap our city resources and pay overtime, so. But I think it's a wonderful thing. It's going to be good for the city. If you've ever been to any of them, you can see what they're going to be like, but.
anyone else have any comments? Ms. Macaulay, do you have anything you need to say? Okay. All right, with
Thank
that,
you.
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. That concludes,
Mayor, I would ask for one thing.
okay,
To be sure we get our city cars out of this
lot.
parking lot and down in our parking lot that we own.
well aware.
If we
and
could, thanks.
We're going to try and leave some spaces over at the PD too, so people can park and walk over. Any other business this evening from anyone? Thought of anything? Okay, none. That moves us to public recognition on non-agenda related items. This is the time of the meeting that you may come forward and address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Again, we ask that you introduce yourself, give us your address, and I would remind you that we request that you speak no longer than 5 minutes. So now we say public recognition on non-agenda items is now open.
Good evening. My name is James Neely. I live at 202 Bush Avenue behind Guild Elementary. I'll be as quick as I can. I'm sorry if this will take a little longer than 5 minutes. Today will be the 4th time we've been in front of the council members about the flooding and drainage issues behind Guild Elementary at 202 Bush Avenue. I don't know if you guys remember me. The last time I was here, it was August 2nd of last year, so almost exactly a year. To give a little levity to the situation, I would like to read an article that was written by Josh Nelson, who was here, and it was a great article written by him, to let everyone remember a little bit where we are coming from in the past. Hundreds of people experienced damage from the flood in 2010. It was a once-in-a-lifetime storm, but for James and Kay Neely, that damage has kept on coming since then. Since that time, our home has flooded an additional 4 times. Mrs. Neely, who lives on Bush Avenue just behind Gill Elementary, told the city council Tuesday night. Everything from structural damage to the outside of our house, from the bricks to the concrete to potential unknown and unseen damage to the foundation of our home. Mrs. Neely said she and her husband tried to do what they could to rectify the problem without involving the city. We incurred significant cost to put in not only sealing around our basement where it had flooded, but also a French drain system. We tore out about $10,000 worth of customized landscaping to deal with a 9-foot by 9-foot trench around the side of our home. The sealing and French drain system was well over $7,500 in cost. We're not rich people, and that has depleted our funds and our savings to almost nothing. Mrs. Neely said the couple has tried to work with the city to find a remedy ever since the historic flood. We thought this was a problem that was going to be fixed, she said. We worked with the city engineers at the time who have since identified that since we are on the backside of Guild Elementary, pardon me, that there is an issue with water runoff and drainage where the system literally becomes overwhelmed. And since that time, we have flooded 4 more times, and despite what we have taken as the utmost precautions for our home to protect it from water damage, we have yet again, over and over, incurred personal damage to our property and our home. The last occurrence, Mrs. Neely told the council, happened last Friday after a short but heavy rain she estimated lasted 10 minutes. She said the problem has been exacerbated by the addition to Guild. What you have essentially is a huge hill that leads down to the back of Guild Elementary's playground through a 4-way stop and completely into our yard. It does not take very much rain at all for this to happen, and with the addition that has been put on the school property, we have basically created a giant water slide. There was over 4 feet of standing water on our property this past Friday at one point. We have video and we have pictures of concrete blocks which weigh several thousand pounds, which are lifted off their foundation and pushed into the yard. The water and its force is directly onto our property. I can only speculate to what damage is being done to our foundation. Mrs. Neely said she wanted to make the council aware of the situation. We come to you literally out of a sense of desperation. We have no more funds that we can put towards this personally. We have been told over and over again that this is a recognized problem and that it is being worked on. She then asked for a timeline on which the issue might be addressed. We live in an extreme amount of anxiety every time it rains. Mayor Paige Brown said it was the first time she had heard of the situation, but she promised to learn more. We're putting a lot of efforts into flood mitigation in the whole city, she said. I don't know exactly what projects will help your situation, but at some point I'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss the situation. At-large Councilman Ed Mayberry asked if the school system has to answer to city drainage requirements. If a school within city limits is going to construct additional square footage with a roof and runoff, do they submit to us a drainage plan, he asked? If not, this will be exponentially worse all over town. City engineer Nuck Tuttle responded by saying school systems and state agencies are required to submit for approval to the city of Gallatin. However, school systems, Sumner County, the state of Tennessee, or any federal agency are not required to abide by our regulations, and they have their own regulations that supersede ours. Brown then asked if such entities were liable for damage caused to surrounding properties. Sure, Tuttle responded, everybody is open to a lawsuit. A point here that was very concerning is that when that was stated, every one of you laughed. I don't know what's so funny about it. Tuttle added the plan for the guild expansion did meet the city's requirements, but he noted that this is after construction and not during construction. The silt fence system that was in place last Friday failed, and there was actually a lot of debris that blocked the culvert right there at the intersection. There were a couple things that were unfortunate timing. We do recognize the problem, and we would like to do some things. The Neelys certainly hope the city does something. We don't want to have to sue the city, Mrs. Neely said after the meeting. We just want the problem fixed. That takes me,
Okay, Mr. Neely, your time is up. I'm open to extending it if the council's all
Make a
fine with it.
motion to let them speak.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Okay.
thank you very much. I'll be as quick as I can. I just wanted to do that to add some levity to the situation and to refresh, where we're at today.
May I interrupt you and ask you if you have followed up with Mr. Tuttle in the time since then? I know there was a mention, just talking to y'all before the meeting, that y'all called the street department,
Well, he
but,
talked to me a few minutes ago, but I left a message with Mr. Tuttle when we were flooding this past time once again, and a couple other times afterwards. He spoke to me briefly here a minute ago. Good seeing you, Nick. And as far as I tried to touch base with you as well, we called your office the day after the meeting. We told to your secretary, the situation, and you wanted to speak with us about it. She told us that you were,
and there wasn't a meeting set? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
There should have been a meeting set.
Well, she
I
told us you were a
apologize for that.
very important and very busy lady, and if it was deemed important enough of a situation, you would be back in contact with us.
No, thank you for saying that. I'll pass that on.
Okay. I would like to get back to the situation that happened last week. On June 6th, our yard was flooded once again due to the runoff from Guild Elementary addition. I would like to note that a retention pond was put in place very quickly after this last incident. We gave the benefit of the doubt at that point. We were not sure anything was going to happen, but it came along pretty quickly, and we're like, great. We have not had any issue so much. We had one rain that it kind of got into our yard, and what happens is, and once again, I want to explain that I have so much documentation. Every time my house is flooded, I have video. I go across the street, right into the culvert, just to document it for myself. I've also explained the last time I was at this city council meeting, I think the exact words was, I implore you to look at these videos and look at these pictures, because more than anything I can say, the evidence is right there. I think it would help the engineers. I would think it would help the city if they see it when it's actually happened, rather than getting there 2 hours after the fact and trying to come up with a plan that way. Anyhow, it was flooded. I had a call from my wife. June the 6th was flooding again. I come home, it was the same type of flooding. What happens is there is the retention pond. They have a culvert, which is about a 10-inch culvert. It runs underground across the street to my neighbor's house. I'm catty corner from Gill Elementary. The water then overflows there. I mean, it gets 3-4 foot high. Overflows. It never hits. I have a ditch that runs beside my house, about 100 foot long. The water never goes into my ditch. It misses it and runs directly across the street into my yard. This has been an issue. I have video of it. It then runs through my carport. It's knocking the foundation of concrete off a retaining wall down. Phone call was made to Nick immediately at that point, just to say, hey, we're having these issues again. Please let me know what's going on. A couple hours later, I noticed the city was out there. Some men were trying to pull debris out across the street from my house, which there's a big tree above it. I know limbs have fallen down in it before. What I really think is silt is coming down. Once again, that was in the paper where Nick Tuttle said the silt fence had failed. There's so much silt, you can see it run through my neighbor's yard. You can see it run into my yard. So it seems like there's still an issue there. Like I said, the ditch, the water never makes it to my ditch, and that's a very important point I'll get to in just a minute. It's very extremely frustrating that of all the members that were out there and the people outside, I was mowing the lawn the next day, and they're kind of looking at it. 10 people out there walking around in the neighborhood. No phone call from Nick, no phone call from anyone in the streets, no phone call from my council members. It's very frustrating. No one can come and knock on my door to be like, hey, we're getting ready to dig up all this property on your land and anything. I mean, it's just basic courtesy, it seems, to be, hey, this is going on. This is our plan. We know there's an issue here,
Sir, may I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
First of all, this is the first I've heard of. I'm a new city councilman along with Linda Love.
Yes, sir.
What do you think would solve this problem? I mean,
To be-
you're out there and see it happening.
Yes, sir. To be honest with you, and I don't want to come off as a know-it-all, and I don't have a degree and a title in certain things, but at the same time, I do work with fire sprinkler systems. I do know a lot about water. I do know the trajectory of it. I do know that if something's pointing this way and I take a cup and pour it, the water's going to run that way. And I know if you put it this way and you put it up there, the water's going to run that way. My house is at the bottom of a hill. They built Guild Elementary, and they built that addition, which makes an additional hill. And all that volume builds in one part, not on my property, catty corner from my property, and it overwhelms the system because I think the culverts are too small. And I think that they would probably have to dig up underneath the street there and make a bigger culvert that came to my actual ditch, and then it would flow properly. But I'm not an engineer.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Nick, could I ask you a few questions, please? What's your assessment of it?
My staff has not had a chance to survey the area yet. It is a project that's on our board. We've got a dozen or so survey projects that are on our board. It's one of those projects that we've talked about, that it's in the works, it's on the board, but it has not been surveyed. Now I do have some ideas, some concepts of how to fix the situation. As a matter of fact, I was just kind of chatting back and forth with Mr. Wilkinson about those concepts and ideas, just based on some of the work that they did just recently, that they went out and the situation that he's talking about on June the 6th, the school system is still under construction on Guild Elementary, and what we found were two 5-gallon buckets had gotten stuck in the culvert this time. And so again, with that debris, that blockage, it did overtop the roadway and headed back towards Mr. Neely's house. I wasn't aware that his home had been flooded this time, but I got you.
When I was a county commissioner, we had a problem with the new school that's built in the Westmoreland area, and because of water runoff, it run into some people's homes. Of course, we held the contractor responsible for that, and they did fix the problem.
Right.
Have we reached out to Sumner County, the schools, or anything?
We have. Ms. Watson has had some communication with Boger Construction, I believe is the name of the company. They have brought Mr. or Dr. Phillips into the conversation, and so the city was out some significant time and resources to try to remedy this situation that happened a couple of weeks ago. And so, we didn't feel like we should have been responsible to have to pull a couple 5-gallon buckets out of a storm sewer pipe that came from that construction site. So we've began that conversation, but I'm not sure how willing that they will be in trying to compensate the city for the funds that we would be out.
Thank you. Mayor, do we need to, have you talked to the school board or anybody?
No, I wasn't aware that anything still existed. In fact, until Mr. Neely talked to me tonight, I hadn't really thought about this since last year. So, I mean, I knew, like Nick says, that we have several projects that are on the plan, but always trying to figure out what is our responsibility, what's property owner's responsibility, what is someone else's cause. I would suggest that the best course of action at this point, Mr. Neely, if you're amenable, is to have a meeting with Mr. Tuttle and me, and your council person if you like, and, let's, talk about, but I think you were here about some rock or something that was.
I'm not finished yet.
Okay, well, you're way out of time at this point, but if you'll get to the rock part, and I'm happy to have a meeting with you.
Y'all are gonna earn it today. All right. Let me find where I was at, pardon me. All right. Once again, it's frustrating that no one will ever look at any of the video or pictures that I have, considering, like I said, more than anything that anyone can say or they can say, it's right there, I have it, That gets me to the ditch. The ditch was, I got there one day, and they're digging out the ditch with like a, bulldozer front end thing. I was like, well, maybe they're gonna dig it a little deeper, they're gonna dig a little grade to it, it looked like. I was like, it's not really going to help the situation because the water, when it flows across the street, never goes into my ditch, which I'm sure that's what it's designed to do, but it doesn't happen. It misses the ditch and goes directly into my yard, about 8 foot to the right of my ditch. Once again, I have video of that. I didn't think anything of it. I come home the next day, and bear in mind, this ditch is about 100 foot long by 6 foot deep, running along the side of my house. I live on a four-way stop. I mean, not that my house is great, but it's a nice house, big yard. This ditch is an eyesore now because it is full, 4 foot deep, about that high, with nothing but these, and this is probably a medium sized. Some are much larger, some are a little bit small. I called Mr. Total once again and stated, I'm not sure if this is like, I'm seeing the painting before it's finished or something like that, but this is not going to do. For one, my ditch isn't the issue. For two, this is a terrible eyesore. It will probably hurt the value of my house looking at it. I've had no less than 4 or 5 neighbors come to me and be like, they're not just going to leave that like that, are they? Everywhere I look, there's a concrete culvert that's built in our neighborhood where there's a situation like ours, not just full of rock. So then there was a conversation with Toby in the street department. I have a neighbor who's lived across the street from me for 37 years. She's here today. Her discussion with them was to say, what's going on over here and what are you doing? There's never been any issue with that ditch, that she had lived there for 37 years, and even when we had the terrible floods of 2010, my ditch, even at that point, never overflowed. It got close, but all the water came in the same way that I'm describing then. Then it flooded our house, but it stayed in the paper. We put $10,000 French drain system in to alleviate that. So I guess Toby tells her that, she's like, how would you like if someone just dumped all these rocks in your yard? And his response was rather curt, and I thought somewhat condescending, to say, well, technically, that's not your yard. It's our right of way. That opens up a lot of different things that I would like to ask Toby. I left him a message today, and I requested him to be here at the meeting today, but I haven't heard nothing back from him either, because I would like to ask him directly some of those questions. For one, what type of bill would I have to send to him for 8 years of maintenance on your property? For two, that means that for 8 years, I've been here 4 times, 2 administrations, and no one's done anything to fix the situation. So I'd definitely like to, have a little more discussions about that.
Well, are you amenable then to a meeting with Mr. Tuttle and I guess Mr. Wilkinson?
I've been willing for 8 years, ma'am.
I'm asking you, we will be happy to set that up.
Yeah.
More than happy.
I mean, like I said, it's like, I hate to sound, condescending in my own right, but yes, I've been up here begging you, my wife's been up here begging you Today I looked at the Facebook page, and I appreciate the home being moved, a 100-year-old home in Restoration, our great city. It's vacant. This is a house with a family that's being destroyed.
Okay, let's keep it about your issue.
Yeah.
But, and we do need to wrap this up.
Okay.
Comment. We've gone about 20 minutes at this point, so
Well,
I think
I
we need to
appreciate
keep-
your time.
Yeah.
It is an issue that is very important to me, and I'm sorry if it is running over.
Would
but
you please contact my office tomorrow
Yes,
and
ma'am.
have Angela set a meeting time?
That is fine. I'd also like to maybe ask Nick or the council what's going to be done about this ditch possibly that I think they are aware has nothing to do.
Well, I think we need
With
to
the
meet
situation.
and discuss what options.
Thank
might
you
be.
so much. I'm sorry I
My,
went over.
my pleasure, and thank you so much. Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition? Oh, yeah, get your rock.
Oh, good evening, good people of Gallatin and City Council, and the mayor, and the city attorney. And for one, I want to thank you, Susan, for coming out there and protecting my rights as they were trying to be taken away from me again tonight. My name is Patrick Reeners. I live at 317 Malone Drive, and my garage floods too. Water runs into my garage, but you know what? I bought that property. I didn't check about the flooding before I bought that property, so I'm going to deal with it, okay? The other issue that I have is that the city has brought me into court again. The city police department, I don't know, Mr. Zach Graves. Sounds a little familiar. And by the way, I want to congratulate Sean for four-way and Miss Love for your new positions. All right, and y'all hadn't had a chance to see me. I've been, from what I say,
Mr.
illegally.
Rayners, you need to address your comments to the council in general and to me. Just a reminder.
Okay, well, thank you for smiling when you say that. And
My pleasure.
maybe you guys can give me a little bit more time too. But the issue I have now is I've done nothing but be cordial with the city and the city council, of course. And I have risen up point after point after point with direct evidence, direct proof, mathematics, facts, knowledge, wisdom, truth, and absolute truth. And have been actually banned for a couple years. And when I walked in here today, these two officers technically illegally detained me for like 40 seconds. But Miss McCauley come to my rescue, and the other wonderful lady from City Hall come to my rescue and said, you know, don't do that. I don't know if it was because they were being good people or because I got some lawyers. But my fact is here. I'm not against this city. I've tried to help this city, and I'm not going to stop trying to help this city. I'm not going to do it because I'm good at it. So what I want to do is just perform a little bit of acoustic challenge to the city council members and just challenge you guys to say, hey, you know, Mr. Reeners, he's been coming here, and we've denied him. Maybe you guys have denied me from your point of view. Maybe you haven't. But let's just do a little open challenge, be open-minded about it, and say, hey, listen, he's still coming back. I'm trying to help the people. That's what I do, okay? So the way I look at it here is I'm back at City Council tonight to talk to you guys, and of course it gets out to say, hey, you know, we're trying to help the people by putting something in the water to help their teeth, but we got people's houses that are flooding. We got other issues that are happening. We're trying to help people at a car show, but we've already heard no dentist can give you fluoride to bathe in if you have well water. They can't do it. So they come up to you guys and say, listen, hey, you know, we got this business here. We want to help people's teeth and fix them. So give them this stuff that will help their teeth. So all our college money that we spent to go to school, all the money that we paid to be a dentist, we can't make no money now because everybody's teeth are going to be helped and we're nice to the people. It's the exact opposite. Okay? It's the main ingredient in Prozac. It's called fluoxetine. You can't get fluoride to put in your bathtub from a dentist if you got well water. You can't get it to cook with. You can't get it to add to your lawn when you fill your lawn. Your swimming pool that y'all made, you couldn't call a dentist up. And then secondly, and lastly, I'll be under 5 minutes, you guys don't add sodium fluoride because it's too expensive. Now, let's make that challenge. You guys want to give people fluoride because you say you want to help their teeth? Why don't you pay the big money for the sodium fluoride, which you can't afford because it's too expensive, and it doesn't have the beryllium, the arsenic in it, which has a zero tolerance for it, and then come to the people and say, listen, if y'all need fluoride for your teeth, go to your dentist. Get it from your dentist. You got insurance? Get it from your dentist. We're not in a position as being a city to help people's teeth. Y'all are helping the CDC get away with dumping toxic waste in the water, and I'm not dropping it. I love these people in this town, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going away unless, from what I heard from other people trying to kill me. I don't care. I'm here to help these people here in this town, and I'm going to fight for the people in this town because I love y'all. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Reyners. Is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening under public comment? I see no one. So with that, we will close public recognition on non-agenda related items. And with that, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. I wish you all a lovely evening, and thank you all for being here this evening. Have a great night.
I'm gonna carry mine. Y'all do whatever you want to, but I'm gonna carry mine. Y'all put me in jail, but